Yeah, guys, thank you for doing this. I just wanted to ask what it's been like, your brief encounter with the bubble, and what's it like being at home but not being at home?
Do you want anything? Want me to go? It's obviously a little weird, but we're just trying to get quickly used to being uncomfortable. I think that's kind of the key here for us, is just being comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's going to take some time, we know that, but obviously it is a little weird being home but being in a hotel instead of your house.
Yeah, I mean, we got in late last night, so pretty much just kind of got settled in, unpacked, and then went to bed, and then obviously today practice. So, the next couple of days are going to be a bit of an adjustment, but, it's nice to have everybody together, and I think it'll be a good bonding experience.
Up next, Lance Hornby from the Toronto Sun. Go ahead, Lance, if you have a question. Okay, we'll go to Mark Masters of TSN. Mark, you're up.
Guys, I'm wondering if what your reaction was to the Miami Marlins news today, if that gives you any more pause about what you're about to go through now, or if you're in a bubble, so that maybe makes you feel a bit differently. And Mitch, I was wondering why a pillow was on your must-bring list.
I don't know what happened with the Marlins. So.
Oh, well, they just tested 14 people positive. But, I mean, I don't know. The Marlins and the MLB are doing their own thing. I'm not really paying attention to it too much. I know they're still doing a lot of traveling back and forth and all this stuff. I think for us, we're looking more at the NBA, who's been in the bubble for however long days and haven't had a positive test. And I don't know the last time really I heard of one there. So I think that's what we're looking at more. We're doing the right things here to stay safe and stay away from each other for 2 weeks, because obviously all the teams come from the States. But the pillow thing, usually all the beds are pretty comfortable. You never know really what you're going to get with a pillow just down the street. So it really wasn't that hard of a bring, and like have my own pillows. So it's kind of the thing I just thought of.
Next question, Terry Koshin from the Toronto Sun.
Hey guys, both of you can answer this if you wouldn't mind. Just wondering what you're hoping to get out of tomorrow night. Mitch, you mentioned the being uncomfortable with everything, or trying to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's just one exhibition game, and like Sheldon was saying the other day, probably against the full team of NHL players and the Habs. But what do each of you hope to get out of that game, both, I guess, from an individual standpoint and a team standpoint?
I think just kind of getting in a competitive, situation against another team. So, we're just kind of stepping right into it. It's not like a typical preseason where you got 3, 4, 5 games to kind of settle in. But, I think we just want to try to hit the ground running tomorrow. And, it's obviously going to be, a bit of a weird situation. But, I think it's just trying to get your timing back and in a competitive game against other NHL players. So, it'll be good for us.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. It's going to be a competitive game. Both teams are getting back into it. Like Austin said, we don't have a lot of time really between we start our Columbus series, so it's really only a game. We're just going to try and be competitive with it, be ready for it. Obviously, the time is not what we're used to, but I think it's a new thing for a lot of players, a lot of teams, is these times that the games are playing. So try and just get the rhythm of it as quick as we can.
Next question, Dave McCarthy from NHL.com.
Just to that end, guys, with what Terry had to say, do you expect the intensity to be maybe a little bit more heightened in the exhibition game on Tuesday, given the fact that you guys are playing a rival in the Montreal Canadiens instead of a team that you may not have all that much of a rivalry with?
I think the intensity will be great regardless. I think both teams, I guess, are looking at it from the standpoint of, you really only have one game to pretty much get ready for a playoff series. So, I assume, I guess both teams are going to, be going pretty hard because, like I said, you don't really have much time. You're just stepping right into it.
Yes, question for Kyle. Kyle, just wondering what your first impressions are of the setup there, and what do you think will be most important for the guys to handle that and be in their best position to perform on the ice?
Yeah, Chris, thanks. I think the setup here is pretty great, actually. We've only been here, I guess, just over 12 hours, and a lot of that was just spent at the Ford Performance Center. But I think just in terms of the way it all operates, it's very different than what we're used to, of course. But I think the NHL and the staff here at the Royal York and the MLSE staff have done a great job in getting this all set up, and it's gone pretty well so far. I think it's just so different and so regimented in terms of timing and where you have to be and when you have to be there, and there's not the latitude for players or coaches to go to the rink early or stay a little bit later. So I think that will be the biggest adjustment, and I think just rolling with it when things don't go as planned or the conditions aren't what we're used to is going to be the key for all of us, Chris.
Next question to Kevin McGran from the Toronto Star.
Gentlemen, thanks for doing this. Kyle, just to really follow up on that, but this is also for Sheldon too. You mentioned coaches aren't able to hang around as long as they might have. Can you give a few other examples of how things are different that you'll have to adjust to? I know maybe you'll be walking to the rink, but taking the bus to the practice facility, maybe team dinners. Can you just give a few ideas of the logistics that you know are coming?
I think there's also the testing component too, Kevin. You've got your set testing time, coronavirus testing that you have to execute in the morning, of course, and then just the actual health checks that are inside your daily your daily questionnaire and symptom check, and then the temperature check that's done by these very high tech machines. Going back 5 months ago, I would never imagine that you'd stand in front of a computerized artificial intelligence machine that would tell you your temperature and give you a green light or red light to proceed with your day. So it's much different than if you had told me 5 months ago this is where we were going to be at. I would have never believed it, but I think we're just excited to have the chance to be back and be playing. And we'll get at that tomorrow night. Sheldon can answer the coaching stuff much better than I could.
Well, yeah, I mean, from the coaching perspective, Kyle's already talked about it, just the ability, to come in and out of the facilities and offices and all those types of things. Typically coaches start, first thing in the morning, 6, 7 a.m. and you just kind of roll and you wait for the players to arrive and you're ready to go. It's a little different here now, but it's really just like being on the road. You get a little bit of work done at the hotel as a group, and then you travel out to the arena and you get ready for practice. You practice, you come off the ice and you leave. So it's a much different routine than what we're accustomed to here in Toronto and certainly within our own facility. But obviously we have to adapt to that. And that's really what today was about, is just getting comfortable within our new environment.
Next question, Mark Masters, TSN.
Kyle, based on what you saw and maybe heard in phase 3, what gives you confidence and belief that this group is ready to take the next step?
I think it's I think if I even to jump back from your question, Mark, to go back into phase 2, I thought that though it was a voluntary phase, the effort that the players put into it and their focus on their on and off ice, even during that phase, and what they were doing away from the rink with how careful they were being and how they were holding each other accountable, was a really strong sign for me about the growth that we're going through as a group. And that, I think obviously the objective stuff, the talent level of the group has never been a question. It's been the maturing and the mindset of the group that we know we have to take some strides in. And so far through phase 2 and phase 3, I've certainly been very happy with what I've seen just in terms of using these last 4+ months to really work on those things as a group. And a lot of that has been player driven. Sheldon and I have spent a lot of time talking with the players about it and having very open discussions about where we're at. But in the end, they've been the ones that have been executing it. And, throughout these last 2 phases, phase 2 and phase 3, heading into today here, that's been the most positive thing that I've seen. I don't know how that plays out in the short term, Mark, but I think because this is just such a strange and unique set of circumstances that none of us really know how it's going to play out once we start tomorrow and get into the series against Columbus on Sunday. But in the long run and where we want to go as a franchise, I'm optimistic that it's going to help us now. but I'm even more optimistic about what it does in the long run for us and where we need to go as a program.